Hello, boys and girls. Thank you for joining us for our art lesson today. So you should have already seen the video on how to draw these cute snow people hugging. And this is the video that is going to show you about the background. Now, a few things that I want to point out when you are creating your background. If you read the slide before this, it says you should fill up your whole page. So ask yourself, how can I fill up my whole page? Okay, so you want to fill up all of the background. Remember, the main part is your subject, and the rest of it is called the background details. Okay, so now it looks a little faded right now because I did it in pencil already, but I'm going to be tracing the whole thing in black marker. You do not have to trace the whole thing in black marker. Sometimes for some coloring things, it does look cool if you trace some of it in black marker. It makes it look a little bit more defined, but that's up to you. You can decide whether you want to do it with black marker or not. Okay, so I am going to trace over everything I have drawn in my background. And in order to make my background, I just use my imagination. So I kind of thought to myself, all right, if these two snow people were hugging, where would they be? Or what would be going on around them? So my idea is that they kind of lived way out in the country somewhere where it's very beautiful and quiet. And I kind of imagined almost like a gingerbread house that they lived in, like a snowy cabin in the woods, but not a complete gingerbread house, but kind of a gingerbread house. And I put some candy canes and some candies on it. Okay. But I imagined maybe they had gone for a walk and they were cold, so they decided to hug and hold on to each other and keep each other warm, which kind of doesn't make sense. They're snowmen, but it's still funny. Okay. And I like it. So I put a giant moon behind my cabin here, just because you know how sometimes the moon looks really, really huge in the sky. I just think that's cool. And I put a giant star. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to trace everything that I have drawn for my background details, just so you can see it a little bit easier. But remember, do not just copy my work. That's not why I make these videos, okay? Do not just copy what I'm doing, because this is my world and my imagination, and nobody's imagination is the same, and that's a wonderful thing. So I would like everybody to use their own imagination to come up with their background. But you can watch this video for ideas. That's fine. But this is your world, and that's the wonderful thing about art, is that you can create whatever world you want to create. There are no limits on the imagination. Okay? And that is a wonderful thing. So I'm very excited to see what kind of wonderful things come out of your imagination. So I'm just tracing what I've drawn so that you can see it better. Let me finish my cabin here. These are candy canes. Like I said, it's like kind of a gingerbread house, but not really. And these are just other kind of like candy decorations. These might be like gumdrops or something like that. Okay. Oh, the other side of my cabin. Where'd he go? There he is. I was really happy with the way that this drawing came out. And again, use your imagination. Don't use my imagination. Use yours. I'm sure there's all kinds of great things in your imagination. This is your world. This is just some of the snow that's hanging off this tree here. I really like this drawing. I thought this was a cool thing to do around this time of year. Okay, just want you to be able to see what I drew. Snow people look like they're warm, even though it looks like a very cold night. Okay, so that was kind of my idea. And now I would get into a little bit of the coloring. I'm not sure if you can see, but there are still a few of my pencil lines that are here. And what I will do with those is so gently erase them. Now you'll notice when you start to do erasing, you get all of these little shavings from the eraser, and you just gently brush those off. When you erase, if you erase very lightly, then you'll get less shavings and you're not going to mess up your paper. If you erase too heavy, all it does is kind of tear the paper apart. Okay, so there's that. Oh, I forgot their footprints. Or their, I don't know, maybe we call them hop prints. I imagine that these snowmen are hopping along because they don't have feet. So maybe they have these imprints of where they hopped along. Okay. Maybe they were also, maybe they were going on a walk this way. Okay. I like this drawing. Let me put in another star up here. There, that looks better. I like that. Okay, so when I would get into some of my coloring, a lot of this is going to be white because of the snow. But I want to show you something on the tree. So this is a pine tree or an evergreen tree. But at night, if it's nighttime, the evergreen tree would probably be pretty dark. So what I'm going to do is, I'd use a dark green for an evergreen tree. But I might also even put in a little bit of purple because it's dark out. And you know what? Let's see. So this tree would be closer to these snow people than these trees back here. Okay, so this tree is going to be, well, it's going to be dark because I said it was nighttime out. Okay, but maybe we can see a little bit more of the green in this tree. So you'll notice when I color, I'm coloring back and forth very smoothly. I keep all my lines going kind of in the same direction. And that way, I am not leaving any white space. Okay? See how my lines are going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth? And I'm coloring very smoothly, the same pressure, and I'm not leaving any white space. Okay? Now in this one, I have a lot of white space on purpose in some places because it's the snow. But I'm talking about when you're coloring something, you should not be leaving any white space unless you did it on purpose. Okay, so all the lines go in the same direction. Okay, that way I'm not leaving any white space. Okay, so there's that tree. But you know what? It's kind of dark out, so let me show you a trick. I'm going to bring another darker color and come in. I'm going to go right over the top of it. Just kind of very lightly. Again, this is my world. This is not your world. But I do want to show you some examples So I am coloring right over this. Notice all my lines go in one direction. I'm going to put some purple in. And what that does is that kind of darkens that green color down a little bit because it's nighttime, so you wouldn't see exactly all green. You get a much darker color. So a lot of times when we're drawing or coloring, a lot of times what we do is we tend to draw or color what we want to see or what we think we see, but not what we actually see. Okay. I'm going to color all of that in with that darker color right on top because it's nighttime, so it's going to look a little bit different. Okay. Now these trees back here are even further away, and I'm not going to see as many details on them, so I'm going to make them quite a bit darker. At nighttime, they might even just be a dark, dark, dark color that you might not see much of the green at all. So I am going to start with my blue, and then I'm going to darken it with a purple. Now, a lot of times we don't really think of blue trees or purple trees, but at nighttime, like you learned in a few lessons ago about a silhouette, we even showed examples of what a silhouette looks like in nature. A lot of times, if it's nighttime, those trees can look almost black against the night sky. Okay, so I'm not going to do this whole thing. I just want to show you some examples of how you could blend these colors together if you want to. Okay, all my lines go in the same direction. Nice and smooth, not leaving any white space. Okay. So those trees would be even darker back there against the night sky. Okay. And okay, boys and girls, I am back. There was a fire drill during the middle of this recording, but it's good that we practiced. And I realized something else. I'm really grateful for the sunshine that we're having, such great sunshine. However, it is making this line across here, which is hard to see. And I have shut the shade, but I can't seem to get that line to go away. So I am going to try to do my best with this. Okay, so where were we? Let's see. So I showed you about making the tree kind of a little bit darker and the colors back here a little bit darker and coloring back and forth nice and smooth. So I'm going to find a red. And you know what? I have just a broken red, but that's okay. For my candy cane here, and kind of the same idea. Back and forth, nice and smooth. Back and forth, nice and smooth. Back and forth, nice and smooth. All of my lines going in the same direction. And like I said, we're taking our time, not just trying to be the first one done. Okay. But that's sort of the idea. Okay. So I am not going to color the whole rest of this thing. I just wanted to show you some of the examples that I was doing. Maybe I'll do just a little bit more. For my gumdrops, maybe I'll do a green. And maybe I'll do kind of like an orange, and maybe I can do a yellow. Okay, just want to show you a little bit of an example. Again, I want you to show me your world. Okay, you show me your world and your imagination. I'm really excited to see it. Okay. All right. So, boys and girls, that is all that I'm gonna be doing here. Again, when you color, just make all your lines in the same direction, same pressure on the crayon, nice and smooth. Use your imagination to fill up the background. and I'm very excited to see what you're going to create. Thanks for joining me today. See you next time.